It is Thursday, August 7th, and President Trump ordering a new, highly accurate U.S. Census, excluding non-citizens. The media up in arms. The Dems are really up in arms. Wait till you see this. The redistricting fight that we've been hearing about with Texas, California, Illinois, just getting started, and why this will be a game changer completely. Also, $12.5 trillion in new liquidity may be about to open up to the crypto market soon. If you have your money invested in crypto or in a 401k, a lot may be about to change. Also, massive new tariffs coming for certain critical sectors like chips and semiconductors, up to 100% tariffs. This is a declaration of war with China, and they're not happy.
Illinois, Chicago, New York, Massachusetts. Democrats have gerrymandered the vote beyond recognition to try to maintain their advantage in the House elections. On top of that, let's not forget, Democrats rigged the 2020 census by including illegal aliens. Remember, they sued Donald Trump. They sued the administration. They fought tooth and nail to include illegal aliens in the census. 20 to 30 of House Democrat seats wouldn't exist but for illegal aliens. Texas is taking just a small corrective step against this ocean of fraud, this ocean of abuse by the corrupt Democrat Party, Sean.
So one of the biggest, most consequential actions Trump took during his first term was the EO he signed in July 2019, Executive Order 13880, titled Collecting Info About Citizenship Status in Connection with the Decennial Census. His administration's effort to address non-citizens being counted in the 2020 U.S. Census. That was the last census that took place. They tried doing this by adding a citizenship question to the questionnaire, with the goal of later excluding non-citizens from the population counts used for congressional apportionment. When this EO was signed in 2019, it was like a nuke was detonated in D.C. Chaos broke out. The establishment went crazy. The DNC spending huge money blocking this in the courts. Eventually, an activist judge blocked the order. But why would they have such a visceral reaction to a simple question? That's all it was, a question being added to the census. Citizenship status. Citizen, non-citizen. That's all they wanted to do. Shouldn't we know how many citizens versus non-citizens live in our country? I think so. Well, he's about to do it again, President Trump, but this time the White House is ready for this fight. Everything is lined up for this fight. President Trump this morning ordering a new and highly accurate census where illegal aliens will not be counted.
But we begin this morning with the President Donald Trump announcing on Truth Social this morning that he's ordering the Department of Commerce to conduct a new census. That is something typically done every 10 years. There was one just done back in 2020. Here we are in 2025. And all of this coming amid ongoing conversations about redistricting and reapportionment. And the president saying today that in this new census, that they will not count those who are in our country illegally.
And it's not a coincidence that we're seeing the redistricting fight in Texas right now. Why Gavin Newsom is freaking out, why J.B. Pritzker of Illinois is freaking out. There's so much more happening here. Trump writing on Truth Social, I have instructed our Department of Commerce to immediately begin work on a new and highly accurate census based on modern day facts and figures, and importantly, using the results and information gained from the presidential election of 2024. People who are in our country illegally will not be counted in the census. Thank you for your attention to this matter. This is a huge deal. This is the Dems' number one red line for years. If you'd even mention this, they would cancel you and label you a great replacement theory racist. Well, luckily, the Overton window has grown significantly, thank the Lord, because there appears to be a very clear incentive for Dems to maximize the number of illegals in their districts, because the census is based on all people in the area, whether they are citizens or they're not citizens. If there's a larger concentration of people who came here illegally in a particular area or a particular state, what happens? That state will then get an increased number of congressional seats. That's real. That really is what happens. So what would then happen if we had a U.S. Census that only counted U.S. citizens? Watch.
The census is based on all people in an area, whether they are citizens or not. So if there are a concentration of people who came here illegally in a particular state, that state will actually then get an increased number of House seats. If you just look at the math, if you look at the apportionment with and without illegals, I believe the blue state, there would be a net loss of blue states of approximately 20 seats in the House. This also applies to electing the president, because the electoral votes are also done by apportionment the same way that House seats are done. So the illegals absolutely do affect who controls the House and who controls the presidency. It does not affect the Senate.
Yeah. Should this effort succeed, which it has a huge chance of, state after state will begin redrawing their district lines. Republican governors around the country already preparing for this. Texas was just the first. Watch.
Ron, they include anybody that happens to be in your state.
Well, California would lose like 5 seats if they did a fair census. And even beyond that, the Biden census gypped Florida of at least 1 seat. We only got 1 seat in the last census. Are you trying to tell me that Florida only had 1 seat in that? We should have had at least 2. Texas should have had another one. That could be the difference in the House of Representatives and the majority. So I would love for them to redo the census for 26. My legislature will redistrict those lines. We'll get it to where it's fair. But as it's right now, this country is not fairly apportioned. I've got so many more millions of people in Florida that have representation because of that flawed census.
Mr. President, I think it's going to do very well. A lot of people, I don't know if you've heard about it, it's captivated the country. Everybody wants it. It's going to get in. It's going to pass.
Meanwhile, we learned yesterday that Democrat Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey is giving $30,000 to each illegal migrant family to help them obtain a home or rental assistance. $30,000 in a gift, not to her citizens, but to people here illegally. She's doing this by using tax dollars appropriated for general shelter costs, shifting those funds to the state's home-based program, which provides rental assistance to migrant families. The $30,000 per family will be spread out over 24 months per family, per illegal immigrant family. Each family will get up to $4,000 per month in EBT cash, $500 per month for food, free health care, and free cable. Yes, free cable. You can't make this up. Watch.
The Massachusetts GOP is criticizing Governor Maura Healey over a new report that shows shifting shelter costs to the state's home-based program. The program provides rental assistance to migrant families. According to the report, Massachusetts is on pace to spend $97 million on the home-based program in the current fiscal year. The state spent approximately $9.5 million on housing at-risk families. Massachusetts Republican Party Chair Amy Carnevale released a statement following the release of the report, saying in part, quote, "As much as Maura Healey would like the public to think that she's improving the system, the data tells a different story."
For whatever reason, Dems still not understanding that prioritizing illegal migrants over your own citizens isn't a winning strategy. Yet they keep doing it and wasting your tax dollars if you live in Massachusetts. In another story, President Trump's about to sign an EO that could open the door to a flood of big institutional money into crypto. This EO will open the door for crypto to be included in 401k retirement plans. The White House press office confirming this morning that the order will direct the U.S. Labor Department to reevaluate restrictions around alternative assets in defined contribution plans. That includes digital assets like crypto, private equity, and real estate as well. So if you invest in crypto, this could be a game changer. If the Secretary of Labor clarifies the department's stance on all of these alternative assets and allows for offering them in retirement portfolios, It could allow new crypto exposure for $12.5 trillion in capital. The 401k market is a $12.5 trillion market. That's how much money is available to be invested. $12.5 trillion in 401k dollars. This would be a significant step forward for the crypto market. Bitcoin already rallying on the news this morning. Let me know what you think about this. Should 401k retirement funds be allowed to invest in risky asset classes such as crypto? Let me know your thoughts. Massive new tariffs coming on chip and semiconductor imports into the States. The only exemption for this will be for companies that have US-based plants that build their products here, build in the US of A. Apple CEO Tim Cook announcing they will be making 19 billion chips in the United States, and the big news will be only buying rare earth magnets produced in the USA. That is huge news. Watch.
And it's companies like Apple, they're coming home. They're all coming home. And we want them to come home. They have to come home. We're going to treat them really well. We're going to be putting a very large tariff on chips and semiconductors. But the good news for companies like Apple is if you're building in the United States or have committed to build, without question committed to build in the United States, there will be no charge. In other words, we're not going to be charging. So a lot of countries, a lot of companies are leaving various other places and they're coming to the United States. So in other words, we'll be putting a tariff on of approximately 100% on chips and semiconductors. But if you're building in the United States of America, there's no charge, even though you're building and you're not producing yet in terms of the big numbers of jobs and all of the things that you're building. If you're building, there will be no charge. So I just want everyone to know that. And I didn't even tell you that inside. We discussed the concept, but I didn't. So it's a big factor. So 100% tariff on all chips and semiconductors coming into the United States.
There is a war, a silent war happening between China and the US. We all see the tariff war, but the real war is with rare earth. 95% of all rare earth metals are mined and purchased from China. They have a monopoly on rare earth, the materials we need to maintain our national security, to build weapons, AI, cars, power, nuclear reactors, and so much more. The Trump administration breaking that dependence, unleashing rare earth mining in the U.S. We'll have more about this in a few days, but this war is ramping up. What we're witnessing is a massive reshoring effort of U.S. manufacturing. Apple alone will create tens of thousands of jobs to build Apple iPhones and watch screens, doing so in Kentucky. Kentucky, watch.
To make 19 billion chips for Apple in 24 factories across 12 different states. Second, we're committed to buying American-made advanced rare earth magnets developed by MP Materials, which will become part of Apple's devices shipped around the world. MP is the only fully integrated rare earth producer in the United States, and with this partnership, they'll be significantly expanding their flagship facility in Fort Worth, Texas. We're also thrilled to work together on a cutting-edge rare earth recycling line in Mountain Pass, California. And third, in Kentucky, we've worked with our partners at Corning to build the world's largest and most advanced smartphone glass production line. And I'm pleased to announce that very soon, this is for the first time ever, every single new iPhone and every single new Apple Watch sold anywhere in the world will contain cover glass made in Kentucky.
This is the real fight that's happening. Trump purposely holding this presser with Tim Cook, announcing to the world that Apple is pulling out of China, that they are done with China. That gets the CCP's attention. Trump also listing off 12 other huge chip companies that are following suit. All of this happening while Scott Bessent is negotiating with the Chinese on a new trade deal. A lot is at stake right now. This is the big leagues. Aren't you glad that you have Scott Bessent and President Trump running the show with these negotiations instead of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris? I sure am. Let me know what you think. All right, That wraps up this episode. Like, subscribe. We'll see you next time.